Hey, what is up, everyone? I'm Ryan Anthony Hernandez, host of the Truth That Heals podcast. And for today's short episode, I wanted to talk about how does one talk to someone who is still in a cult. Let's say you have a family member or friend and you get the chance to talk to them. How do you talk to them? Do you throw all these facts at them? Do you yell and scream at them? Do you make them see how stupid their actions are? Or do you talk to them with a bit of kindness? I'll be answering that in this short video. And before we even get into that, if you have not yet subscribed, please press the subscribe button and share if you like this content. It really helps this channel. Thank you. Now, let's say that you have a friend or a loved one who's inside of a cult and they've been there for weeks, months, maybe even years, and you haven't had the chance to see them. You haven't even had the chance to really talk to them because they're always monitored. But let's say you have this opportunity. How are you going to use that time to talk to your loved one? Are you going to talk down on them? Are you going to make them feel stupid? Or are you going to speak with them in a more kind and loving way? Well, it's up to you. But I want to share from my experience 2 different stories that I went through to maybe help you understand how it feels to be inside a cult, speaking to someone in the outside. So this first story happens in Los Angeles. I've been in the cult for several years at this point. And at that time, I was very troubled. I didn't know what was happening in my life. I felt that something was wrong, but I didn't know that it was a cult. So I went to LA for a week and a half for some special opportunity. And anyways, I'm there and I'm at a church, a regular Catholic church. And there in the parking lot, I see a priest whom I remembered from my pre-cult days. And at this point, I'm desperate. I'm very sad. I'm very lost. And inside the cult, inside the compound, I can never show those emotions. But at this point, I really needed some help. I needed some guidance. So I see this priest walking in the parking lot, and I go up to him and I say, "Hey, Father, can I talk to you? I really could use a blessing." And when I said that, when I just made that request, he turned and looked, and he saw me dressed in my habit, my religious garments. And he looked at me and he asked, "What group are you in?" And I found it kind of odd that that was his first question, but I responded and told him, "I'm with the Two Hearts." And when he asked me for the name of the group, I was actually, honestly, a bit scared because for so many years we had that us versus them mentality, which you see in so many cults. But I told him the name of the group, and what happened next was just scolding, him yelling at me, pointing the finger, telling me how bad I was for being in this group, how stupid I was for following Father Bing, and that the Alliance, that they're doing all of these missions in Los Angeles out of disobedience, and they're doing their own thing, and they're breaking all these rules, and they don't even have the right to be celebrating Mass or hearing confessions, but yet they're doing all this, and like, shame on me, shame on you, Ryan, for being in that group. You know how I took it? Do you think I opened my eyes and said, "Oh yeah, you're right. You're right, buddy. I want to get out of here"? No, I was shocked. I was in that moment before I went up to him. I was in the pivotal moment where I did want to connect with an outside source. I did want to get out of the cult. I didn't even know that it was a cult, but I just knew that something was wrong. I wanted to break the ice with somebody whom I thought I could trust. And so I went up and said, "Hey, I just need a blessing." And hoping that that would probably break the ice and maybe lead to some guidance on how I could leave or how I could live a better life. But no, I was being shamed. The guilt was immense. I wasn't expecting to be yelled at in the middle of the parking lot. And then I started getting defensive. It's like, "Hey, look, buddy, like, I'm not Father Bing. I'm not doing any missions. I've been on the freaking compound for several years. I'm just allowed to be in LA for a family event that's happening, and I'm just here to go to mass, and I'm just asking for a blessing. And he continues bombarding me on why I'm wrong and why I'm in the wrong group. And I get it. Maybe he was trying to open my eyes, open my mind to help me get out. But instead, he eventually did give me the blessing. But the way I took it was that blessing didn't matter. I mean, yes, vocally he gave me the words, may God bless you, but it didn't come from the heart. So immediately I saw a justification. I was justifying all the BS that the cult founder had taught us, that everyone outside, that they don't have the full truth, everyone outside, they're miserable, they're not true Christians, all that bogus stuff. And so this priest, yelling at me, scolding at me as if I were Father Bing, made me feel like, okay, Father Bing really is a saint. He really is getting persecuted because he really does have the truth. So maybe I should just shut my mouth and stick with all the BS that's happening in the community. So I went back and I stayed for a few more years. If that person would have responded with, yeah, I'll give you a blessing, but hey, how are you? Something more kind, and maybe he could have walked me through in a better way. Hey, look, did you know that your founder was doing these things? Because to be honest, I didn't know what's going on. I don't know the truth, because when you're inside a cult, the information that's happening, they're filtering it. They're always making it look like they're the good guys. Inside the call, they're always making it look like they're following all the rules. They're not breaking all the rules. So when this priest gave me all these truth bombs about the alliance and with the diocese, all that stuff, it was too much. It was overload. And instead of me opening up and saying, you know what, you're right, I'm going to get the hell out of this community. No, I doubled down and even got more tighter with the cult. Now I want to tell you a second story which takes place in Brooklyn, New York, at a Catholic church. And again, I was going through troubled times. I didn't know what to do with my life. I felt lost. I felt like I didn't belong there, but I felt like at the same time I had to be there because the leaders say that this is what God wants of me, and I didn't know how to discern. I didn't know how to make my own decisions. And so I was going through this conflict, and I'm outside the church, and I see the priest walking by. And I never met this guy, but I go up to him and ask him kindly, hey, excuse me, Father, can I have a blessing? I'm really going through some struggles. And yes, he gave me a nice blessing, a nice pray over. And then he asked me, because of course I'm dressed up as a religious, he asked me what group I was in. And after I told him, he didn't yell at me. He didn't say, "Oh, look, your group is disobedient. You are a disobedient person. Oh, you're a bad person." He didn't say any of that. He just told me what were the rules of the Catholic Church, how things should be done properly, and that I shouldn't be afraid to do things the right way. He didn't say it in those kind of words, but close enough. You get the deal. Anyways, when he spoke to me in that manner with kindness, and when he kind of walked me through what was the actual process of doing apostolate in other missions, in other locations, I didn't get angry. It opened my eyes to understand, like, hey, look, what we've been doing inside the AHFI it's been totally wrong. We've been deceiving people. We've been going to other jurisdictions without permission, and it it really opened my eyes that there is a right way to do things. And to top it all off, this priest then told me, "Why don't you come in the church and just spend some time in prayer?" That that experience, if you put it next to the first experience of the one in Los Angeles where the priest just yelled at me and made me feel like crap, when I was planning on leaving, when I was working on leaving, I really thought a lot about these two experiences, and remembering that there are good people out there who are willing to listen, who are willing to talk to me with kindness. That helped me to leave. That helped me to see that, hey, look, there are good people out there, and no, not everyone is evil. And I'm not making this video to convince anybody to join Catholicism or any of that, but I want to give you an example of how to talk to somebody, because in those two experiences, as I said, while leaving the group, I was weighing them, and they both had different emotions. That first emotion was extremely heavy, extremely dark. I felt like I wanted to die. I felt like I had no place of belonging. But in that experience in New York, I felt like, hey, look, maybe there is hope. So I'm sharing this with you, and I hope that you're able to get something out of it. And if you do talk to a loved one who is in a cult, please don't bombard them. Don't make them feel stupid. Don't tell them, man, you freaking suck, you're a loser, or whatever. Maybe try to talk to them with some kindness, with some respect. And if you do present facts, maybe present it in a way which will be helpful. And if they don't accept it, then okay, at least you tried in a kind way. And I wish you and all your friends who are still in cults, I wish you all the best. And just to end this episode, have a good day and stay blessed. If you want me to talk about anything specific, please leave it in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Peace out, y'all.